Part 116. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1151. Chapter 1151, Destiny 2. I know that this child just has no fate with me. Maybe he should not have existed from the beginning. Now he has just been taken back by God. Chao Xiaofeng still looked at it very openly, and had no thoughts about the child's departure. So low, but there is a feeling of relief. Xiaofeng, don't be sad. I will introduce you to a pair of good men from now on, and I will marry and have children with those good men in the future. Qian Yuman comforted her. Then I'll trouble you. Chao Xiaofeng smiled slightly, trying hard to smile, although it was uglier than crying. Her eyes couldn't help but fall on her lower abdomen. Although there was a feeling of relief in my heart, what followed immediately was endless sadness. The child was gone. Although it didn't last long, she was still looking forward to it. Unable to live a long life with the man she loves, she thought she could keep the crystallization of their love until the end, but she didn't expect that everything would be destroyed. By the way, what happened to that bitch? Chao Xiaofeng vaguely remembered that Scene 11 also fell off the bridge with her. Dead Qian Yuman didn't have any sympathy when talking about Scene 11. Although the deceased is the biggest, she still deserves it. She almost killed you, so don't feel any burden. She brought it upon herself. She suffered a bad fate and was not rescued. Qian Yuman was afraid that Chao Xiaofeng would have a knot in her heart, so she immediately told her not to feel any guilt because of Scene 11's death. If Yuan knew that I killed his wife, he would definitely hate me. Chao Xiaofeng knew that Scene 11 was dead, and her eyes turned red again. It was not because of Scene 11's death that she was sad, but because she was sad that she would become someone Yuan hated. Although we cannot get married, we still hope that the other party will not dislike us. Oh. Xiaofeng. Don't care what Yuan thinks of you. Qian Yuman comforted her. Yes. The most important thing for you now is to take care of your health. I just received a text message from Qian Yuman saying that Chao Xiaofeng had woken up, so Xian Yuanxun bought some food suitable for Chao Xiaofeng and came to her door. Brother, you are here. Seeing Xian Yuanxun coming, Qian Yuman smiled and took the initiative to arrange the food. Xiaofeng, do you want me to feed you? I still have the energy to eat. Chao Xiaofeng laughed for a while, and the boredom in his heart was relieved a lot by a few amusing words from his friend. Ignore her and eat it while it's hot. I've tasted it before buying it, and it tastes pretty good. Xian Yuanxun pushed what he thought was the most delicious food in front of Chao Xiaofeng. Brother, you are so considerate. Qian Yuman held her hands on her chest and looked at her brother with an ambiguous expression, then looked at Yuan with ridicule. Xiaofeng, what do you think of my brother? He is the same age as you, has a good character, not to mention family affairs, and this handsome face definitely suits your aesthetics. Why don't you consider my brother and I will give you a red line? Qian Yuman's teasing made the man and woman sitting there blush instantly. You're not serious. Chao Xiaofeng glanced at Qian Yuman in shame, her face became redder and redder, and her complexion looked better. Thank you, sister, for pulling the strings. Xian Yuanxun didn't take it to heart, and followed his sister's words and said jokingly. But the way Chao Xiaofeng looked at Xian Yuanxun was slightly different from before. When she fell into the river, she vaguely saw an angelic Xian Yuanxun swimming toward her, saving her, taking her out of the endless abyss, and returning to the river. World. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1152. Chapter 1152, Destiny 3. But the way Chao Xiaofeng looked at Xian Yuanxun was slightly different from before. When she fell into the river, she vaguely saw an angelic Xian Yuanxun swimming toward her, saving her, taking her out of the endless abyss, and returning to the river. World. When Chao Xiaofeng fell to the bottom of the river, Xian Yuanxun immediately jumped into the river to save her. When she was hazy, Xian Yuanxun swam toward her, and Chao Xiaofeng's hazy consciousness emerged. Later, she was given first aid, artificial respiration, and other measures. Chao Xiaofeng woke up for a while, but when she opened her eyes, she saw the immortal Yuanxun. So the fairy warrior who originally existed like a Prince Charming instantly turned into a man who existed like an angel in Chao Xiaofeng's heart. Being teased a little by Qian Yuman, her face turned red, and she even glared at Qian Yuman angrily. Qian Yuman glanced back and forth at the faces of her brother and her friend, a trace of interest flashed in her eyes. It seemed like these two people were really having fun. She knew the character of Xian Yuanxun. If Xiaofeng could really be with her brother, they would be sister-in-law. Wouldn't this be a happy outcome for everyone? It seems that there is a play. Brother, please take care of your Xiaofeng. I will go back to rest and take a bath. In the evening, I will bring delicious food and drink to honor my Xiaofeng. Qian Yuman's eyes were ambiguous, and she deliberately looked at the two of them with explicit eyes. Sweeping between people. Go quickly. Chao Xiaofeng felt embarrassed by Qian Yuman's ambiguous eyes. Her originally dull mood was relieved by her friend's amusement. After Qian Yuman left, the atmosphere between the two was a bit awkward. Chao Xiaofeng pretended to look out the window, but still noticed what Xian Yuanxun was doing out of the corner of his eye. Xian Yuanxun stood aside, smiling and speaking to ease the atmosphere. Don't pay attention to what Manman said, she was just joking. I know, Manman is afraid that I will feel depressed after losing the child. Doesn't she understand what her friend meant by doing this? What's more, how can she be worthy of being an immortal? Only her friends would make fun of them. Xian Yuanxun's conditions were better than Ye Yuan's. She didn't get any benefits from this love affair with Ye Yuan, so she didn't dare to criticize Xian Yuanxun. Think. She is just a poor person now that she has lost her child. Everyone is gentle to her and feels sorry for her, but she doesn't think much about it. Are you tired? Do you want to take a rest? Xian Yuanxun walked over, packed up the food she had eaten and threw it away. No, I want to sit down for a while. Master Xian. At this moment, Tang Yu's men came to the door and bowed deeply to him. Xian Yuanxun looked at the bodyguard, nodded slightly to Chao Xiaofeng and left, walking towards the bodyguard. What's the matter? The bodyguard was in his ear and whispered. There is a man named Ye Yuan outside, looking for Miss Chao. Leaf margin? When Xian Yuanxun heard the name, he frowned and decisively rejected Ye Yuan's idea of coming to see Chao Xiaofeng. Let him go back. The newlywed wife has just died and she comes to see her old lover. No matter whether it is to cause trouble or to catch up with the past, she is not welcome. Yes, the bodyguard nodded and left. What happened? Chao Xiaofeng had been paying attention to their interaction just now, and also saw Xian Yuanxun frowning when he heard the bodyguard's words. Xian Yuanxun looked at Chao Xiaofeng, and finally told her why Ye Yuan came to see her. Chao Xiaofeng smiled sadly. He's here? Let him in. He'll have to face it sooner or later anyway. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1153. Chapter 1153, Broken Fate 4. Chao Xiaofeng smiled sadly. He's here? Let him in. He will have to face it sooner or later anyway. You are still very weak now. Let's face it later, Chao Xiaofeng, who had just had a miscarriage, had no strength to face Ye Yuan. Xian Yuanxun directly rejected Chao Xiaofeng's request. It's natural for him to come to me to vent his anger after his wife died. I'm already mentally prepared, so let him come in. You girl, you want to be a doormat. How can you be so stupid? Xian Yuengxun sighed helplessly. Faced with the girl's stubbornness, he had no choice but to let Ye Yuan in and guard the door. Ye Yuan came in, dusty and tired. Even so, he still looks so perfect at the moment. During this period, the Ye family has been hit by various blows one after another. He is constantly struggling, withstanding the pressure coming from all aspects, and at the same time facing the departure of his beloved woman. He walked into the ward and saw Chao Xiaofeng looking out the window. Her delicate little face was as white as snow, without a trace of blood. Lying there, it seemed that he would disappear at any time, but the expression on his face was calm and indifferent to everything. Xiaofeng Ye Yuan called out cautiously, his eyes falling on her belly. You're here. Chao Xiaofeng cast her gaze on Ye Yuan, her eyes calm, as if looking at a stranger. Ye Yuan walked up to Chao Xiaofeng, clenched his hands into fists, and then suddenly knelt down on his knees beside Chao Xiaofeng's hospital bed. Chao Xiaofeng was mentally prepared for Ye Yuan's sudden move, but was also shocked by his sudden move. It seems that the development of the plot is a little out of her mind. Isn't he here to quarrel? I'm sorry, Xiaofeng. Ye Yuan apologized deeply. Chao Xiaofeng's eyes quickly turned red and she turned her face away. Why are you kneeling in front of me? What's there to say sorry for? It's you who killed my wife, not me. I'm not here to ask questions today. I already know everything that happened. I'm not here to blame you. It's all my fault that this time, you and Xiao 11. Ye Yuan's his eyes were also red. Seeing the pitiful look of the beloved woman in front of him with red eyes, his heart ached violently. Then what are you here for? It's not like he's asking for help, but is he just here to kneel down and say sorry? Does he need it? Ye Yuan's eyes fell on Chao Xiaofeng's belly and he said with a choked voice. I know the baby is gone. Chao Xiaofeng couldn't control her emotions anymore when Ye Yuan mentioned her sadness, and glared at him angrily. So what if you know? The wife you lost has already been killed. What's even more ridiculous is that the culprit is dead. I don't even have a chance to seek justice for my child. She doesn't care about the punishment and death. She won't feel guilty, but she also has no hatred. She committed suicide. Where is the child in her belly? Is there anything wrong? She doesn't need to be punished to death. I wish she was still alive so that she could cause trouble and settle accounts with her. I'm sorry, it was me. If I knew you were pregnant, I would definitely. Absolutely what? Why are you talking about this here now? The children are gone and things have happened. What are you pretending to do here? Do you still want to get back together with me? Chao Xiaofeng tried hard to hold back her tears. The look in Ye Yuan's eyes was only ridicule. Xiao 11 and I are not a couple at all. Dear concubines, happy Valentine's Day. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1154. Chapter 1154, Destiny 5. Absolutely what? Why are you talking about this here now? The children are gone and things have happened. What are you pretending to do here? Do you still want to get back together with me? Chao Xiaofeng tried hard to hold back her tears. The look in Ye Yuan's eyes was only ridicule. She thought it was ridiculous. What was Ye Yuan's purpose today? To apologize? Raise troops to investigate? If they get back together, she will look down on him. Isn't it ridiculous that my wife just died and I would chat with my ex? This kind of behavior is simply the attribute of a scumbag. I originally had some feelings for him, but now I felt disgust in my heart. Xiaofeng, you misunderstood me. There are some things I haven't told you. It's just the wrong time. Ye Yuan knelt and took a step forward, grabbing Chao Xiaofeng's hand angrily and a little excitedly. Chao Xiaofeng was slightly excited at this moment and wanted to shake off Ye Yuan's hand, but couldn't. That's enough. If you continue talking, you will make me feel disgusting. He tried his best to withdraw his hand. Xiao 11 and I are not a couple at all, Ye Yuan said anxiously. His words also dropped a huge stone in Chao Xiaofeng's heart. What? Not a couple? Chao Xiaofeng looked at Ye Yuan in disbelief. What was he talking about? What do you mean by that? Chao Xiaofeng looked very shocked and looked at Ye Yuan in disbelief. Xiao 11 and I were not husband and wife from the beginning to the end. As for the wedding, it was just a show for my grandma to see. I wanted her to go away with peace of mind. Ye Yuan covered his eyes with both hands in great pain and said in a low voice. In a slow voice, he talked about everything that had happened during this period, and the things he had concealed. It turns out that Ye Yuan and Xing 11 were not husband and wife from beginning to end. Grandma Ye was dying at the time, and she only had about 3 or 4 months to live. What Grandma Ye hopes most is that Ye Yuan and Xing 11 can complete their wedding, and she can go away in peace. The existence of Chao Xiaofeng is the knot in Grandma Ye's heart. Caught in a dilemma, Ye Yuan could only make a cruel decision and temporarily let go of Chao Xiaofeng's hand. Choose to agree to a method proposed by Xing 11, pretend to be married to her, hold a wedding, but do not go to the marriage office to register. The wedding that Chao Xiaofeng attended before was just a formal wedding, and they were just a fake marriage. The reason why Ye Yuan broke up with Chao Xiaofeng was because he was afraid that she would not be able to accept his decision, and he did not want to wrong her by letting her see him with other women. In addition, the possibility of them being together was very small. There were many difficulties and he made a wrong decision, the decision to break up cruelly. Hunted Chao Xiaofeng severely and asked her to live a good life. If there was still a chance, he would pursue Chao Xiaofeng again after everything was settled. However, he never expected that the fake marriage with Xing 11 was originally a game of Xing 11, a game that Ye Yuan. He had no idea that she had bad intentions in her heart. Even after they separated, she still wanted to let her go. Chao Xiaofeng died and left Ye Yuan completely. Especially after Xing 11 learned about Chao Xiaofeng's pregnancy, she could not tolerate Chao Xiaofeng's existence even more. He wanted to kill Chao Xiaofeng behind Ye Yuan's back, but he didn't expect that he would kill himself in the end. Ye Yuan was deeply shocked after receiving the news. He did not expect that the situation would develop to this extent, nor did he expect that Chao Xiaofeng would be pregnant in his plan. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1155. Chapter 1155, Broken Fate 6. After learning that Chao Xiaofeng had a miscarriage, Ye Yuan deeply regretted that he had made this decision. When Ye Yuan talked about this incident, his eyes turned red several times, and his voice choked with tears several times, but he held it back. Xiaofeng, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I should have confessed to you at the beginning, maybe you wouldn't have been hurt, let alone our child. At the same time, I also underestimated Xiaoxi's feelings for me. I thought she only felt like a sister to a brother, but I never thought that she would kill you and the child in order to get me. All this is my fault, I hurt you. Ye Yuan deeply regretted and apologized. When he learned that Chao Xiaofeng and Xing 11 both fell into the river, both were injured, one died and the other was injured, he almost fainted. After learning that Chao Xiaofeng was pregnant and had a miscarriage, he was even more devastated and deeply regretted his original decision. So that's it, ha ha ha, Chao Xiaofeng laughed, but there was no joy in this laughter. Instead, it was full of sadness, and she just hated fate for playing tricks on people. She had her own reasons for hating the man she had hated for so long, but in the end neither of them got a single benefit. After hearing his explanation, she didn't sympathize with him at all, but instead hated his self-righteousness. Ye Yuan, you underestimate my feelings for you, Don't you know that if you tell me the truth, I will wait for you where you are? Even if you don't have children, I will wait for you to handle the things at home. Over the past 3 years, haven't I been playing the role of waiting? I am not afraid of hardship, and I am not afraid of difficulties in your family. I will resist and work hard. But you shouldn't think about letting me go temporarily and hurting me. Don't you know that even if this incident doesn't happen, I still can't accept your self-righteous approach? It's ridiculous. Where did he get the confidence to think that she, who was injured, would always stand there and wait for his arrival? I know, I realized it when I saw the existence of Xianyuanxun beside you. I really want to be with you for the rest of my life, but I want you to be happy even more. If you can be with Xianyuanxun in the end, you will definitely be happier than me, and you won't face the disgust of everyone in my family. When Ye Yuan saw the queen like her Chao Xiaofeng at the wedding, and when he saw her standing with Xianyuanxun, he was heartbroken. He has made the decision to come back to her and see that she already belongs to someone else. How much determination did he make to prevent himself from going ahead with the wedding? As his grandson, he didn't want to see his grandma die with her eyes open, and he didn't want her to be angered by her unfilial grandson again before she died. Grandma Ye knew that Ye Yuan would not get married, which aggravated her condition. As a result, Grandma Ye, who still had 1 year to live, only had 3 or 4 months to live. Maybe God was playing a joke on him. Grandma Ye passed away half a month after the wedding. Originally, I wanted to find you to explain things clearly recently, but I didn't expect. No outsider can know how complicated Ye Yuan's mood is. Fate plays tricks on people, making the lovers who originally loved each other deeply face trials time and time again, and finally reached the current point. I already know everything, you can go. Chao Xiaofeng's tears kept falling, she turned her head and cruelly issued the eviction order. I won't leave, and you haven't forgiven me yet. It's my fault that we killed our child. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1156. Chapter 1156, Destiny 7. I won't leave, and you haven't forgiven me yet. It's my fault that we killed our child. Ye Yuan shook his head quickly and refused to leave. He had to ask her to forgive him today. Why bother? Does it matter whether you forgive or not? Chao Xiaofeng smiled sadly. After hearing Ye Yuan's explanation, although her heart was agitated, there was no what if. All the tragedies have happened, they have been separated, the child has died, Scene 11 has paid a heavy price, and there will be no possibility for them. It's all my fault. I hurt you and the child. I'm sorry for you. Please forgive me, okay? I will never forgive you. Chao Xiaofeng tried her best to pull away her hand that was held by him, and said cruel words. You are the cause of all these tragedies. The child died, which was a life. Plus Scene 11's, your wrong decision cost 2 lives. How can you ask me to forgive you? But. There are no buts. Even if I forgive you and you feel better, will the Scene family, who lost their daughter, let me go? Will they let you go? I will take care of it. I won't let them cause trouble for you, Ye Yuan said positively. Chao Xiaofeng looked at Ye Yuan deeply and sighed helplessly. Let go of my hand. What you do is your business. Don't kneel anymore. I won't forgive you. I won't help you up. Kneel if you like. I want to rest. Chao Xiaofeng's heart ached violently, and she thought she could face it calmly, but when faced with his apology, she felt compassion in her heart and had the urge to forgive her. But when I think of the lost child, I think that there is no possibility between them. If Scene 11 had not died, if the child had not died, they would still have a chance. The child died, and her heart also died. Although she heard the explanation, it only made her more painful at most. Seeing Eleven's death was the biggest knot between them, and they could not pretend that it had never happened. It will be a knot in their hearts that will never be solved. If they are together, there will be a life as a price between them. Although they had a fake marriage, others may not believe it, but they still thought it was his wife. If you get back together with Yayun, you will have to face more problems. The Ye family hates her even more, and the Singh family doesn't let her go. Even if Yayun can handle the parents of the Singh family and not cause trouble to him, can he stop slandering her behind her back? It was too easy to discredit her. She would not be able to accept the charge of just a mistress who forced the high-ranking official to death. How could she not see that he wanted to get back together, but they are not destined to be together after all. Chao Xiaofeng's attitude of breaking off friendship was there. Yayun knew that it was useless no matter how much he said. He didn't know that the gap between them was getting wider and wider, and what they would face if they were together. They still love each other, but fate has made them the most miserable couple ever. Yayun left. Before leaving, he saw Xian Yuanxun at the door and asked her to take good care of her before leaving. Chao Xiaofeng kept crying after Yayun left, and Xian Yuanxun comforted and accompanied her. On the other side, Qian Yuman, who was returning home, neglected a very important thing because of Chao Xiaofeng's incident. Tang Yuj knew that Chao Xiaofeng was kidnapped when she was with little Mickey. The relationship between Xiaofeng and Yayun has turned over. Although they love each other, sometimes love is just a basic condition. Many helplessness and fate teases separate them. Seeing Eleven's death is the reason why they can't be together forever. Step across the chasm. After the story is over, we will talk about little Mickey, and some important characters will also appear. For example, our handsome Mr. Lei, the long-winded Murong Huanao, and the gentle Mr. Fei Shen. Dear concubines, good night. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1157. Chapter 1157 Suspect little Mickey is his son 1. While Qian Yuman was taking care of Chao Xiaofeng, little Mickey followed Tang Yuj inexplicably. They originally appeared in the hospital with Su Warong. A group of people were worried about Chao Xiaofeng's life safety. Little Mickey and Tang Yuj, the father and son, walked together unknowingly. When they misunderstood Chao Xiaofeng's death, little Mickey threw down Tang Yuj, who was standing aside, holding his thigh and secretly shedding tears. When it was confirmed that Chao Xiaofeng was fine, Qian Yuman stayed to take care of her, so Tang Yuj naturally wanted to return resting at home in the imperial capital. When he walked to the door of the hospital, he noticed that there was a little tail beside him, following him closely. He didn't notice it at first and just walked in front. Little Mickey's short legs were a little bit, he kept running after him with great difficulty. Roar! The bad guy uncle is indeed a bad guy uncle. Wow! Little Mickey cried out at that time, flew to Tang Yuj's feet, hugged Tang Yuj's thigh and cried loudly, which shocked Tang Yuj, who didn't notice little Mickey at all. At the entrance of the hospital, there are many people coming in and out. Everyone has a sad face and a few happy ones. No one pays attention to the passers-by. Of course, except for a cute kid like little Mickey and a monster-looking person like Tang Yuj. Many people noticed that the elegant and noble Tang Yuj was followed by a cute little follower. Suddenly, the style of the picture changed. The little follower hugged the evil man's thigh and cried loudly. Tang Yuj was really frightened. When he lowered his head, he saw that his face was red with suppressed tears, and he didn't even have a single tear. He was obviously pretending to cry. Little milkman, what are you doing? Wow, wow, wow. Daddy, don't you want Mickey anymore? Are you going to leave Mickey in the hospital, Little Mickey's simple words immediately caused the passers-by to stop and whisper to Tanyuj, pointing at him, and even some people speak up. "Sir, your son is so cute and looks healthy, why did you throw it away? If my son is so cute, my baby won't even have time to let him shed tears." Yes. The father and son should talk about anything they have to say. The child is still young, so we can't scare him. The chatty uncles and aunts spoke frankly and almost surrounded Tanyuj and little Mickey. Tanyuj looked deeply at little Mickey, then he bent down and picked up little Mickey, rubbed his head tenderly, and nodded apologetically to the passers-by around him. "I was just having fun with my kids." After saying that, little Mickey was taken away. Little Mickey was carried away by the bad guy uncle, with a smile of success on his face. He was so tired from running just now, and now he can comfortably have a human sedan. Tanyuj took little Mickey home. Secretary Zhang Tianrui, who had parked his car at the door of the hospital, had already stepped forward and opened the door for them. Secretary Zhang looked at the little Mickey meaningfully. This was not the first time he had made a Mickey. The last time Tanyuj went to Paris to find Qian Yuman, Secretary Zhang did not go with him. Not long ago, when little Mickey was drunk, he was abroad, so this was the first time he saw little Mickey. When he saw little Mickey, he was curious about who this little guy was. As for the commotion just caused, he also noticed it. He can't really be the son of his boss, right? Getting into the car, when Secretary Zhang saw what little Mickey looked like clearly, he was shocked and found that the little guy looked so much like his wife. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1158. Chapter 1158. Suspecting that little Mickey is his son too. After discovering that little Mickey looked 60–70% similar to Qian Yuman, Secretary Zhang looked at little Mickey for a while, always peeking in the rear-view mirror. After Tanyuj got into the car, he glanced at the follower next to him. Tanyuj reached out and pinched the little guy's nose, teasing him with a smile. "Besides hugging me and acting like a dad every time, do you know any other tricks? This is the second time. It's tried and true, why change? It's good that his purpose is achieved." Tanyuj was speechless for a moment, and he was indeed a master of one thing. The people around here are very talkative, and with little Mickey's ability to pretend to be pitiful, he really can't stop being cruel. "Why are you following me? My mother and aunts don't have time to take care of me. You seem to be quite free, so I followed you." Little Mickey said there was nothing wrong. Tanyuj did seem to be quite relaxed. The kidnapping incident caused a slight sensation. After Chao Xiaofeng announced that there was no danger to his life, Su Warong went to deal with the aftermath. Qian Yuman had been taking care of Chao Xiaofeng. He also arranged some people to protect Chao Xiaofeng and the others, but he didn't do anything. Not to mention, Su Warong's army is not as reliable as Su Warong's army when it comes to public security and rescue. Having power is good, and it can be handled without leakage. Although Tanyuj's power spread all over the world, compared with Su Warong, the son of Prime Minister Su, he still lost a lot in the imperial capital. "Then you follow me first and let me take care of you for a while." Tanyuj decided to upgrade to a nanny and take care of the baby for a while. Secretary Zhang in the front seat looked more and more strange. Looking at the two people in front of him getting along, it felt like a father and son. Little Mickey also noticed the way Secretary Zhang looked at him, which remained glued to him, with a stern expression on his face as he glared back. "Why do you always look at me?" Little Mickey said unhappily. "I'm just surprised that you are so smart," Secretary Zhang finished. Indeed, at Mickey's age, many people would be surprised that this little guy's intelligence is a bit unbelievable. After saying this, Secretary Zhang turned his attention to Tanyuj again. "Mr. Tang, haven't you noticed that this child looks exactly like the wife? They are simply carved from the same mold. Secretary Zhang said the most critical sentence during this period of observation. You think it's the same, don't you? Tang Yu's eyes fell on the little guy beside him. Little Mickey looked at the two adults in confusion. Who is the madam? Little Mickey's answer made the two of them laugh out loud at the same time, but they ignored Little Mickey and the two adults continued the discussion. I was surprised when I first saw him. It's not the wife who cheated on the husband, right? Ignore your life, Tang Yu frowned, his eyes hiding on the face of Little Mickey looking at them strangely. Indeed, the more I look at it, the more I feel that this little guy was born secretly to Jian Yuman. This little face is so similar to Jian Yuman. Judging from the appearance and age of this little guy, it is indeed about the same time as the birth of their child. This also makes Tang Yu and Zhang the secretary doubted the origin of this little guy, especially when he appeared next to Chao Xiaofeng today. Mr. Tang, you said that when my wife had a difficult childbirth, she gave birth to a boy and a girl instead of two daughters. Secretary Zhang's IQ and EQ are absolutely high. He expressed Tang Yu's doubts in a confident tone. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1159. Chapter 1159. Suspecting that little Mickey is his son 3. Indeed, the more I look at it, the more I feel that this little guy was born secretly to Jian Yuman. This little face is so similar to Jian Yuman. Judging from the appearance and age of this little guy, it is indeed about the same time as the birth of their child. This also makes Tang Yu and Zhang the secretary doubted the origin of this little guy, especially when he appeared next to Chao Xiaofeng today. Today, Mickey was the first to seek help from Tang Yu, and Chao Xiaofeng was taken away by Scene 11. He rushed over to save people without thinking carefully. Why are Chao Xiaofeng and little Mickey together? Do they know each other? If he only knew Chao Xiaofeng, he wouldn't be surprised, but Xiao Mickey looks like Jian Yuman and calls him Aunt Chao Xiaofeng. The combination of these two things is extraordinary. Mr. Tang, you said that when my wife had a difficult childbirth, she would not have given birth to a boy and a girl instead of two daughters. Secretary Zhang's IQ and EQ are absolutely high. He expressed the doubts in Tang Yu's heart and said it in a clear tone. Already a determined tone. One man and one woman. This key matter exploded in Tang Yu's mind like a bomb. He looked at little Mickey next to him in disbelief, and immediately recalled what happened that year in his mind. This thought revealed that he had always had a misunderstanding. It was true that Jian Yuman had a difficult delivery and her daughter did die, but it was not said that both daughters died. Moreover, she was pregnant with twins. They did not test the gender of the children at the beginning, they just wanted to give them a surprise. But he did not expect that the children he might give birth to were not twins, but twins. When Jian Yuman cried and said that his daughter was dead, he thought that the difficult childbirth caused the death of both children. However, he did not expect that it was only the daughter who survived, and the son who survived was the little Mickey in front of him. The thought came to mind that little Mickey once told him that he had no father, not since he appeared. The more he thought about it, Tang Yu's breathing became heavier and heavier, and the eyes he looked at little Mickey became more and more passionate. Could it be that this little guy might be his son? Congratulations, Mr. Tang, congratulations, Mr. Tang. Secretary Zhang congratulated quickly and congratulated warmly. Little Mickey looked at them with more and more doubts in his eyes, and his head was a mess. What on earth were they talking about? What is a son and a daughter, and who is the wife? Tang Yu hugged little Mickey's shoulders excitedly and swallowed. Who is your mommy? Little Mickey's eyes quickly looked elsewhere. This bad guy uncle wasn't going to complain to his mommy, saying that he was playing a trick on him. I won't tell you, why should I tell you? Tell me your mommy's name, Tanyuj asked anxiously, shaking little Mickey's little body excitedly, so that little Mickey felt dizzy. Little Mickey patted Tanyuj's paw unhappily. What are you doing? You hurt me. Tanyuj felt like letting him go, taking a deep breath to calm down quickly and not to hurt this little guy. Then do you know who your dad is? Have you ever met your dad? Have you ever heard your mom mention your dad? Little Mickey didn't say mommy's name, so Tanyuj said it another way. Little Mickey tilted his head, thinking for a while, and then nodded. I've met my dad. I met him recently, but he doesn't seem to think I'm his son. Tanyuj, vomiting blood. Excited. Move. I think I have a son. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1160. Chapter 1160. Suspect Little Mickey is his son. 4. Little Mickey tilted his head, thinking for a while, and then nodded. I've met my dad. I met him recently, but he doesn't seem to think I'm his son. Little Mickey's words instantly made Tanyuj feel as if he had been shot to death. He hugged Little Mickey excitedly, and his eyes began to turn red. This woman Qianyuman secretly gave birth to a son for him and kept it secret from him for so long. I really want to beat him up. Tanyuj was very excited. He already regarded Little Mickey as his son and sentenced Qianyuman. But the next conversation with Little Mickey made Tanyuj's heart fall off the cliff. My dad is as cool as me. Yeah, of course you are as cool as me. And he's so tall, every time I look at him I have to raise my head. That's right, he is 1.88 meters tall. Compared with the little baby who is only over 2 years old, he is too tall and a bit scary. Every time Mickey looks up, he may not be able to see him. S face. He seems to be very rich and powerful, and he looks really cool. I'm embarrassed to praise you so much. Tanyuj was still in a state of excitement. When he heard his son praising him all the time, he felt very happy. But he's even more fierce than Mickey Mouse. He has no expression on his face and looks cold and hard to get close to. Ha, Tanyuj looked confused. Doesn't he look approachable? Although he was noisy with this little guy during this period, he thought he was quite patient with his little guy. I really want to have a dad, although dad has an iceberg face. He is Little Mickey's dad. I will let him know my existence, but I don't know if mommy will let us know each other. Wait a minute. Tanyuj pushed away his son in his arms and stared at the little guy's face. The father you think of is not me. He thinks that he is not an iceberg face, let alone a straight face. The most important thing is that he now knows that he exists. This little guy can't be talking about him. You. I didn't say it was you. Little Mickey nodded seriously, and then said in disgust. My dad is cool, but you are not cool at all. Just now you bullied Little Mickey. He walked so fast that he almost couldn't keep up with you. Tanyuj couldn't express the pain in his heart. He didn't see the little guy. But thinking about it, it was also a mistake for me not to notice the little guy following me. Tanyuj lowered his head, looked directly at Little Mickey, and said seriously. You have to know that your dad is definitely not cool. Your dad is me. If you can't do it, ask your mommy. My mommy didn't tell me, Little Mickey said, looking at Tanyuj with a more thoughtful look. But if you are my daddy, I still have to do it? Before the acceptable words could be said, Little Mickey changed the subject and said. I won't accept it. Don't try to steal my mommy from me. My mommy can only be mine. Little Mickey looked at Tanyuj eagerly. Does the bad uncle want to be his stepfather? This doesn't work. Mommy can only belong to his biological father. He has not forgotten that Tanyuj and mommy were kissing passionately before. He is interested in her. He wants to be Little Mickey's father, wants to marry his mother and become his stepfather. It is said on TV that the stepfather is very bad and may bully and ravage him and even steal his mother. Little Mickey, You can't say this, your mommy is my wife, so even you are mine. End of this chapter.